Good day, everyone. My name is John Leonard Unagalio from the SITS2A. So for this activity, number 3, we're going to install a server setting with proper setup requirements and also install the Active Directory, the domain controller, and DNS. So for that, we want to open our VirtualBox and create a new virtual machine, and then choose the location folder, and then make sure that it's in Windows 2008 and Microsoft Windows for the type, and then let's proceed to next. You can create the base memory for this one. Then let's proceed and finish. So before starting the virtual machine, we want to put the operating system first and also the change the network. So let's go to storage first and then choose a disk file. Then choose Windows Server 2008 and then go to network adapter. So we want to change it to internal network and then click OK. Then start. This one, let's proceed to next. And if you want to change your language, you can do so. And then install now. So this one will might take a while, so I'm going to skip the video up until to where it's being finished to download. Okay, so first, let's choose Windows Server 2008 R2 standard full installation, or the first one that you see here. So proceed to next, then accept, and then since this one's uh, pirated, so we want to go to custom advanced, and then here, since there's no requirement for us to have a divider, so we're just going to proceed to next. So here it might take a while for you to download, so I'm going to skip to that part where the download is already finished. So after booting up 2 times, so for the first installation, the virtual machine will going to restart. Then after that, you can now enter your password. So here you can enter your new password, and then after entering your password, you can now proceed to logging in. So let's wait for the computer to completely boot up. In some instances, we cannot see the configuration task pop up, in which we can change the computer properties here, but we can still access the the elements or the properties inside of the configuration, initial configuration tab. So just press this icon here. I think it's server manager. So in here in the server manager, you can see the server summary and the computer information. So as of now, our computer name is WIN this. So we want to change the computer name first. So doing that, go to this section and then change system properties. Click that one and then change. So to rename this computer, we then press change. So that so we want to, let's say, win 2K, my surname S. So press OK. And then it will ask us to restart the computer. So after we close this one, we can restart the computer. So restarting the computer, we can now, or after starting the computer, we can now see the changes in the computer name. And then after that, what we want is to change the time zone, the time and date of the computer, and then the IP addresses. So if you encounter this one and you try to press the Control Alt Delete, it will go to a blue screen of the computer itself or the laptop itself. So what we're going to do is go to the input keyboard and then you can either press this or click this one so that it will mimic the pressing of Control Alt Delete to the virtual machine, or when we say host plus del, that is the right control. So right control key and then delete. So that you can access the administrator and enter your password. So let's go to the system manager again. So we can now see that our full computer name is Win2K Nagalio S2. And after that, we want to change the time and time zone. You can do that in change system. Go to start and then control panel and then clock here. In the control panel, you can go to clock, language, and region, and then under that we can click to set the time and date. Here we want to change the time zone first. So this one, what we want is UTC plus 8 since we are 8 hours ahead. So you can choose either of this one, but the best one is the first option, which is the Beijing Hong Kong. Then click OK. Then for the change the date and time, as you can see, it's 4:41 10 a.m. here, but in my laptop it's 12:41 p.m. So I want to change it to P and then 12. Let's make it 40. Now it's 27 and press OK. So your clock, your time and date and time zone is ready or it's configured already. And then after that, Let's go to the Open Network and Sharing Center. So what we want is to change the IP address of this computer to static. So let's go to change adapter settings. And then here you can see the local area connection. Right click and then properties. So for the Internet Protocol version 6, we want to uncheck this one since we're not going to use this for this instance, or you can do so, but it or you cannot check it and set a static address, but it's too long. You know, you're going to type a lot of IP addresses for the version 6. But for this one, for the version 4, we can edit that. No, obtain an IP address automatically. So instead of doing that, we want to give an IP address to this virtual machine. So for the first IP address, we want it 192.168.1.1. Then for the for the default gateway 192.168.1.10. So here you can change it in whatever IP address you want. But the important uh but the important thing is to match the IP address to what IP address that is being given to you, and also for the default gateway. So for the DNS, we want just to put 8888 or 127.0.0.1, so it's either of the two. So okay, and then close. So you can see here the local area connection, and the IPv6 is disabled. So and then after that we want to install the active domain and a DNS. So for the roles, as you can see here, we want to add roles. So here you just click next. Okay, so the the options or the reminders here before you continue, verify that the administrator account has a strong password. The network settings such as static IP addresses are configured. So for this one, both the IPv4 and the IPv6, they both need to be configured in such a way that they're a static IP address. And then the latest security updates from Windows Updated are installed. So next, we want to install the Active Directory domain services. Then add features required for Active Directory domain services. So just press this add required features and then click next. Next. And then install. So wait for it to be completely installed. So after installing, this will show up. So you want to press this one so that it will automatically execute this line of commands. So close this wizard and launch the Active Directory domain service installations. And then next, and then for the deployment configuration, we want to create a new domain since we don't have an existing domain yet. So for the root domain, so it should have, or it should follow the FQDN or the fully qualified domain name. So You can just use any. So for me, I'm going to use my domain name com, and then next. So here it will check whether the first name is already in use. So we'll wait for that. And so after checking or the verifying, we can now select the forest functional level. So since you will be able to add only domain controllers that are running Windows Server 2003 or later to this forest. So you can either choose Windows Server 2008 or Windows Server 2008 R2. So let's proceed to next since we've already chosen the forest functional level. So wait for it to be done, and then here select additional options for this domain controller. So we'll leave this as it is and make sure that the DNS server is checked. So next, so here cannot be created. Okay, so this one, we want to just go to yes, and then next. Here you can choose your database folder, but since we don't have, or we have not tackled that yet, we'll just leave it as it is and go next. For the password, you can create your own password here, or you can either choose the password that you've used in this virtual machine. So it's either of the two. And then next. So wait for the DNS installation to finish. So after having to wait for the DNS installation to finish, so this one will show up and then we just have to click finish. And then of course it will require us to restart our computer before the changes are being made and reflected. So start now and wait for it to restart successfully. So you can either press the one here in the input keyboard or just simply the right control key and delete. So we're going to check if the changes are being reflected already. So you can see here at the server manager, we already have our domain. And then for the roles, we now have the Active Directory domain services and DNS server both installed in our virtual machine. So that's it for the installation of the Active Directory domain service and the DNS server, and also configuring the properties of our computer, such as the name, the full computer name, the date and time, and for the local area connection.